तो मैंने रियलाइज किया कि जैसे ही पीपल्स मूवमेंट वीक पड़ता है वैसे ही एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ब्यूरोक्रेसी लोगों पर हावी होती जाती है, और जैसे ही एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ब्यूरोक्रेसी हावी होती है तो जो कोर्ट्स हैं, पूरा सिस्टम है, जुडिशियल सिस्टम है, वो धीरे 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 वो जो पीपल के लिए उनकी सिंपैथी होनी चाहिए वो कम होती जाती है। एंड टू अ ग्रेट एक्सटेंट पीपल आर नॉट देयर इन फ्रंट ऑफ द सिस्टम, देयर आर अदर कंसिडरेशंस। No person who is liable for killing so many people, for causing so much injury, there is absolutely no possibility of anyone going behind bars. ये सिर्फ हमारे देश हिंदुस्तान में हो सकता है कहीं, लेकिन अभी भी हम जाग नहीं रहे, समझ नहीं रहे, समझ नहीं रहे। इसलिए पीपल्स पावर, पीपल्स मूवमेंट इसलिए मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट। In 2021, 3rd of December, I happened to be in Bhopal. उस दिन मैं गया वहाँ फैक्ट्री के पास, जो कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम्स थे उस इलाके के वो कुछ भी वैसे के वैसे थे, रिहेबिलिटेशन नहीं हुआ था प्रॉपर्ली, लोगों को अभी भी पूरा कंपनसेशन नहीं मिला था। और मुझे लगा कि मेरा अपना जो एक्सपीरियंस है, जो मैंने समझा है, जाना है, देखा है, किया है, वो एक बार मुझे लिखना चाहिए। I thought I was the only person who was there as a victim, then who was there as an activist, and ultimately I was there as a lawyer. तो ये ऐसा और शायद कोई नहीं है। As soon as this incident took place on 3rd of December, within 2 or 3 days, the American attorneys started to come. वो भाग रहे हैं लोगों के घर घर जाके, they were collecting papers, they were getting their signatures on their power of attorney. तो वो सभी को लग रहा था कि क्या किया जाए। सैकड़ों की तादाद, बड़े बड़े जो फर्म्स हैं और यहाँ की लोकल लॉयर्स को एंगेज कर लिया, सारे ओरिजिनल डॉक्यूमेंट्स को कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं। हाउ टू स्टॉप? जहाँ जो कुछ हो रहा है उस पे जो विक्टिम है उसका तो कोई कंट्रोल है ही नहीं, एंड नोबडी इज आंसरेबल। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया वाज डूइंग नथिंग टू चेक इट, कोई कुछ नहीं कर रहा था। तो एक एक्ट बनाया, भोपाल गैस डिजास्टर लीकेज एक्ट। उस एक्ट से गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने एक्सक्लूसिव राइट ले लिया अपना। तो एक जो गलती हो रही थी कि अमेरिकन लॉयर्स ले रहे थे, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सब्स्टिट्यूटेड इट फ्रॉम अमेरिकन लॉयर्स, उनसे अपने हाथ में ले लिया। अब नाउ द विक्टिम्स हैव नो राइट, दे कैन नॉट फाइट देयर ओन केस। ये एक अनप्रेसिडेंटेड जो बात हुई, एनीवेयर अ विक्टिम कैन नॉट fight for compensation. Victims' right to ask for justice himself is taken up. Government of India filed the compensation suit in Bhopal court in October 86, claiming exclusive right on the basis of the law which was passed by the Indian Parliament, the Bhopal Act. But what we could see, what we could feel, all of us and all the victims, that the Government of India is not serious in prosecuting the case. They should be made party as interveners in the court. Along with that, I had moved an interim application. That was also under inherent powers of the court, under Section 151. The court has inherent power to ask the defendant to provide interim relief to the claimant. When the case started, I decided to intervene on behalf of the victims. Never took any money from anyone. Everything I managed to do on my own. And against these giants, the killers, it was difficult, obviously difficult, very, very difficult. Put on everything which I had, like everything, whatever I could earn from other sources, from other cases and all. Whatever knowledge and experience I had till then, everything was there. Against the district court order, they went to the Madhya Pradesh High Court. Madhya Pradesh High Court didn't interfere with the order. Only from 350 they reduced it to 250 crores on the basis of the insurance coverage. And they said that this is a decree which can be executed in the United States. This is the modification by High Court. When the matter went to the High Court, which is in Jabalpur, then there was some difficulty, but still I could manage. But when the matter went to the Supreme Court, it was almost impossible for me. And then for preparation and all, we had no place. So what we did, we used to go by train, of course, without reservation. There was a rail Yatri Nivas for rail passengers who want to spend a day or at the most maximum 2 days there in Delhi. From there, we used to go to the Supreme Court to fight the case on behalf of the victims. This I have termed Muflisi mein wakalat, advocacy by penniless people. If the higher you go in the judicial system, the greater is injustice. Everything went wrong in the Supreme Court. Both the parties had filed appeals and we were intervening in both. Both the parties were arguing the case, fighting tooth and nail. Government of India defending the order of the High Court. Carbide opposing it, saying no, it's without jurisdiction, it's baseless, it has no basis. Otherwise, if the order stands, it will not be executed. And there was a lot of pressure by Carbide. Since this order is without trial, the order would not be executed in the United States of America because the American judge, he had put a condition of following due process of law. So the Carbide said that due process of law says that no such compensation can be awarded without there being a trial. That is their stand. So they put a lot of pressure on the Supreme Court and on the Government of India that if this order is confirmed, then we will see to it that the Supreme Court's decree is not allowed to be executed in America. The lowest court in America, which is the executing court, can dishonor the decree of the Supreme Court of India on the ground that due process of law is. This is the psychological warfare adopted by Union Carbide Corporation. and it affected the government of India. And more than government of India, it affected the Supreme Court's honorable judges. The Supreme Court never said that any settlement talk is going on. The Supreme Court never disclosed it. Never, at no point of time. I was there all the time in Supreme Court. And then we had also made a prayer in our submissions to the Supreme Court that in case there is a talk of settlement, we should also be made a party to it. We should also be consulted as victims, organizations. But it never happened. Nobody knew. Arguments were going on. It was on the 24th day. Suddenly, all of a sudden, as a shock, the settlement order came. And in that order, Supreme Court said that the talks had been going on for quite some time between Carbide and the Government of India with the aid and assistance of the honorable judges of the court. And then ultimately on 14th of February 1989, the Supreme Court of India, our highest court, announced that order of settlement. We have said the whole case is settled. All civil, criminal, past, present, future liability of Union Carbide is done away with if they pay an amount of rupees $470 million overall. At no point of time the case was tried on merits. At no point of time. When the settlement order was challenged in review petitions, and that those review petition was dismissed by a different bench of the Supreme Court, the justification for dismissing the review petition that was given by that bench, presided over by Honorable Chief Justice Ranganath Mishra, was this: that there was a fear that the decree of the Supreme Court, the order of the Supreme Court, will not be allowed to be executed, to be enforced in the American court. That is why it's settlement. This is a shameful thing. If the victims were hurt, if the victims had knowledge, if the victims were taken to confidence by Government of India and by the court, this settlement could not have been ordered. Everything which had happened is behind the curtains. Maybe a coincidence, we don't know. It's a common knowledge, nobody can deny it, that a judge of the International Court of Justice could be appointed only when the government of United States of America permits it. This is what it is. The government of India, it seems, did not have the courage to prosecute Union Carbide Corporation and its officials. It did not have the courage to fight for compensation. It wanted some compensation to be given to the victims, but it never wanted to fight or was prepared to fight for compensation. They never wanted to engage into a fight with the Union Carbide Corporation and therefore with Government of United States of America. This is the reason. They also, right from the first moment, everything was played down. The whole effort of the Government of India and Government of Madhya Pradesh was to play down. And that is what helped Union Carbide Corporation, directly or indirectly. नाइंसाफी की दास्तां ये है कि हम वही हैं जहां हम थे, हमारी हालत और बदतर है, लेकिन ये सब जिसने किया हमारे साथ उसको तो आपने भाग जाने दिया, बड़े आसानी से छोड़ दिया. The victims of Bhopal are not beggars, they are not begging for anything. If somebody has done something to them, it's their right to get compensation. It's their right that the culprit goes behind bar, is punished. They are not begging.